Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Couchers Podcast, episode number 271. 271. And my guest this episode is Teza of the band TezaTalks. What a treat it has been to have this space, because it allows me the opportunity to do the work I want to do, doing this podcast. But also, overall, I think the conversations have improved. Being able to meet with people face to face, it creates an environment where people are happier to open up, or, just more open to really sharing themselves. And, the last few episodes and also episodes that are coming up have been really great that way. And Teza, once again, I'm really thankful for her sharing herself with me and with you, with the podcast. It's amazing. I feel like that wouldn't really be possible on a Zoom call. So it's really great. I met Teza at the Smooch benefit, and then, no, not Smooch, Smash, that I was working. Me and Muzz were working as a stage crew. Muzz also played. I think she covered a Hot Heat song, and it was really great. And then again, Sonic Guild. She received a grant from Sonic Guild this year, which has helped and has enabled her to release her new album this year, which is coming out shortly after this podcast. So, and then, that show, I've talked about that show a lot. It was just a really special night. All the bands were so great. But Teza brings the theatrics at a different level than everyone else. And it's awesome. I absolutely love it. I've never been in a band where I dress up. I look like this when I play on stage, usually. One day I'll start my furries band. But it was an absolute pleasure to see her perform. It was really great to connect with her here on the podcast. What a cool lady. And I wish her all of the rewards and experiences that music can bring to a person. She's a hard worker and super talented and a fun storyteller. So I hope that you enjoy this conversation as much as I did. Go check out TezaTalks. If you are enjoying the podcast or any of the cover songs, I also have a cover song pitch for Teza. I'm like this close. I can't these things are all these mashups, and I'm so close. I'm about to reach out and give her a couple of options and see what she says. Hopefully soon, before the end of the year, maybe beginning of next year, I'll have another one buttoned down. So look out for that. If you're enjoying the podcast, if you're enjoying the cover songs, please do consider supporting Couch Riffs on Patreon. Patreon.com/couchriffs. It's the only place where Couch Riffs can generate any sort of funding to operate here, as well as supplements my ability to live indoors, which I love it. In fact, I don't know if I'm addicted to living indoors, but I really, really, really like it a lot. The whole indoor plumbing, all of that thing, it's great. Just keep myself clean. The dogs like it too. Thank you for supporting Couch Riffs on Patreon. That's also the only place where you can download any of the, I think over 70 cover songs that I have produced, put together, recorded, and made videos for. And it's a nice thing. Be like buying me a cup of coffee once a month. That wouldn't be so bad. Thank you for supporting. I super duper appreciate it. Before we get into the episode, the golden rule: treat people the way you want to be treated. If you need to merge in traffic, do you want to be called a fucking asshole and get flipped the bird? Probably not. You know, everyone's doing their best. Just don't be a dick. Treat people the way you want to be treated. That weekend that I met you when you were rehearsing for
Smash.
Mm-hmm. What is that crazy sound?
When
rats in the walls. It's a nice place.
Yeah.
This space was shown to me and I jumped on it. So I'm like super fortunate to have it.
It's really cool.
Pretty neat.
Yeah. And across from Showbox too.
Super close to everything.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Couch Roast Podcast. I'm so happy that you agreed to come be a guest.
Of course.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a legendary couch. Many legends have sat upon this couch. So
Well, these couches are pretty new, but but yesterday Duff was sitting there.
Oh, yeah. McKagan?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. Just 15 hours ago. Probably.
Wow. Still warm.
It's still warm. It's got a really warm butt. It's really, and these things, you know, well insulated.
Yeah. It's very, I like the color too.
Where are you from?
Great question. I'm from Oahu, but I spent my summers in Seattle. So it's kind of like best of both worlds. I like to say it's like palm trees in the snow.
Well, there's not a lot of snow here, but you're from Hawaii.
Yes.
But you said Oahu, and I was like, where the fuck is Oahu? Yeah. Is that in Eastern Washington?
Yeah, people always get confused because they clump like all the islands into one, the Big Island, when it's like the Big Island is Hawaii. It's not just all of them. So, but Vegas is Oahu's like the Vegas of all the islands with the tourism and attractions and things like that.
What's the Big Island?
The Big Island is actually Hawaii. Like, so when people talk about going to Hawaii or Hawaii, that is the actual island. Right. And then there's 7 other islands.
And Oahu is the one with all of the resorts? Is that what you're saying?
It's probably the most draw as far as like vacationing and tourism. The economy is pretty stable from people going in and out of there.
What was it like growing up there? Because people vacation there, and that makes it seasonal and a destination place. But people are kind of always going there, right?
Yeah. For me, growing up there was, I'd like to say, a blessing because I wasn't really introduced to a lot of the issues that have now come up being on the mainland. Yes, racism is everywhere. However, I wasn't a minority on the island. Polynesian culture is very embracing of all types of people, but there is more so, how do I say, a less likelihood of running into white people. However, it is still a melting pot. Yeah. And they talk about the aloha spirit. That's something that has always stayed in my heart. And that's why I think I've carried like a lot of compassion and love and just kept an open mind towards life and people itself.
Most people who grow up in the sun have a tough time living here in the Northwest.
Yeah, that seasonal depression.
Sure.
Yeah.
What do you do in the winter?
Make music, create.
So you just hide out.
Yeah, I mean, Washington to me is very special because it kind of like creates this force or pressure for people to go within themselves and reach deeper for maybe parts of themselves that they don't typically have to face. At least that's what it did for me. Yeah. And that's why Seattle, Tacoma will always be a home to me because TeZATalks was actually created here. It wasn't back home on Oahu, and it wasn't even during my travels after that. I really got to find myself as an artist and as a person here, and people embraced it. I feel like in a more authentic way than I would have had to deal with anywhere else, like LA or New York or Miami or something.
When did you leave Oahu permanently?
When I was 15 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, I had like major back surgery, and I was a big athlete before any type of music.
Okay.
And I think the surgery changed my personality drastically, and I just wanted to leave the island. And my dad lived here along with his beautiful wife, and I finished high school at Curtis Senior High School in 2008.
Where is that?
That's in University Place.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So were you musical during the time that you were involved in high school and youth athletics?
Only through church. Only through church, like Baptist upbringing, and
The plot thickens.
Yes, the plot thickens. It has a lot to do with my stage performance, actually. But although I'm not very much religious anymore, more of a spiritual person, the energy and growing up amongst a congregation where you saw the transference from music to, audience became something I had to do with my life. And I guess it's now just evolved.
There's a lot of theatrics in worship
Yes.
presentations.
Yes. As well as theater, which I did fall into after I couldn't do sports anymore as well.
What sports were you doing out of curiosity?
Track, soccer.
What was your event?
100 and 4x4 and 400, 200. I haven't checked the stats lately, but at the time I was the fastest girl on the island of Oahu. It's pretty cool. Oh, and long jump.
Nice.
Yeah.
The Olympics are happening right now. Do you watch?
I have been watching through the highlights of TikTok and Instagram Reels, but I haven't gotten a chance to like sit down and, watch on television in any sort of way. But I'm always blown away by it. So cool.
I used to watch religiously. I used to watch,
what events?
Whatever was on. I would just watch whatever was on.
I'm always blown away by the organized swimming.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's one sport where they have a ball and they have to like throw it up in the air and time their flips with the ball coming down and catching it with their legs. I don't know what it's called, but it's incredible.
That sounds more like, have you heard about the Inuit Olympics? Do you know what this is?
Mm-mm. Please tell me.
In Alaska, the natives of Alaska have like an athletic Olympic competition. I heard about this when I visited, and they have all of these events which are just like that. So, there's just like something hanging from a rope.
Otherworldly
and you have to and your hands are tied behind your back and you have to jump up and kick it.
Oh.
And, land.
Oh my goodness.
It's why I really want to see this.
I don't even know how one begins to even train for this. You have to dedicate your whole life to it, I imagine.
Well, how do you come up with an event like that?
Well, I imagine less distractions. We have so many. So many things that distract our mind nowadays. Like we're just not left to figure out like what can we do with all this time now. But
I don't feel like I used to have any kind of attention deficit.
No.
And I for sure do now.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
Oh, devices for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I try to be better about it.
I think they're bad for us.
Yeah.
But here they are.
It's a tricky subject because on one hand, I'm so grateful that I've been able to connect with so many different people and be introduced to so many different worlds. But on the other hand, the accessibility to misinformation is scary. And we're living in that right now.
The problem is always people.
Yeah. Yeah. We always think it's other things, but it definitely is us.
It's people.
But we also are the solution. Fingers crossed. Well, I'm here to make sure of that. Me
too.
Yeah.
Did you answer the question? Were you doing music when you were before you were 15?
Just only in church.
In church.
Yeah. I didn't think that I was ever going to pursue it as a full-time career. It was always something that I used as a way to worship or to appreciate God.
Yeah.
In some way, it still is that in a higher power of energy and within the universe, if people can understand what that means. But now the intention has changed, or at least like for me, I see us as one source, and music is the ability to speak and to understand each other through this one source. It's the universal language of the world. And so that's where I put my efforts in it now.
I think anything that you do your very best at, anything that you love and you pour yourself into and you do in front of people is essentially a worship presentation.
Yeah.
I don't know what else, like a ceremony. Like I would hesitate to use the word ceremony when it comes to any show I've ever played. Ritual would be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did you decide to be more serious about this?
You know, to be quite frank, I just usually don't have people ask about it. I am who I am now, and that seems to be all that speaks for me. But I really appreciate you asking about the timeline, because it is important to where I'm going with my album with Black Girl American Horror Story. So in 2012, I created my first YouTube video under my real name, and that went viral. My first YouTube video ever. And
your birth name?
Yes, Teza Ann Thomas.
What is it?
Teza Ann Thomas.
Teza.
Yes, that's my real name.
And you changed that. You were just like, nah.
I didn't really have a choice.
Okay.
I signed a document that signed away my legal name.
Wow.
Yes. And when I didn't follow through with what they call the obligations of the contract, they put it in a freeze, and I wasn't able to write, record, perform, or make anything under my real name for 4 years. And within that time, I created TeZATalks.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Because I wasn't going to stop.
No, fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them, for real. And TeZATalks.
I don't know who they are, but fuck them anyway.
Maybe one day. But yeah, fuck them. And TeZATalks became a narrator for all the things that I couldn't say. And all the challenges I faced in LA and in my life that eventually created this power that I got to take back. And now there's no separation between Teza and Teza. They are the same.
When you started performing, when you've created, but like pre-Teza, were you weren't performing? You were just writing.
I was just writing.
So from the onset, was Teza on stage always a show? Because one thing that I really appreciate about seeing you perform is you're not going up dressed like an indie rocker like I do, right? You're putting in some effort. You know, at the theater, you know, you're posted up there in front of the mirror getting it going. And there's pageantry and costumery, and there's show business. Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. And not a lot of people are doing that. Yeah. Was that part of the plan from the onset?
I can't say that I sat down and thought about it for, months and months and months. I just think that I was so suppressed for so long that I created a world inside of me. And when I was finally able to break out with the opportunity in 2019 to perform at Numos for the Seattle World Tour, I had all of this like collection of energy and performance within me. I really believe that this is what I'm supposed to do with my life. I know it looks like I have these grandiose setups and plans, but truly I just follow my intuition as an artist as authentically as I can. because I want people to do the same thing in their lives. If it doesn't feel honest to me, I'm not going to fucking do it.
Hear, hear.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you.
You mentioned that you spent time in theater, like you discovered theater. Did that inform any of that, do you suppose?
For sure. I think that influenced my passion for entertaining and performance. And one of my favorite musical pieces is Sideshow. It's like a carnival type of script, and it's grotesque figures in a circus, and they're just singing their, woes and sadness, and it all ends in a big finale of we are who we are, freaks or not. And I really connected to that. I've always not felt like an outsider, but I've felt like I was always watching myself from outside of myself. And I think it's because for so long I wasn't allowed to fully be who I am. And from that, instead of it becoming a detriment, it became another way for me to create.
Sure. You mentioned that you were back and forth between Seattle and Oahu as a kid.
Yes. Only till about 15, though.
Right. Then you were here permanently. But
yes,
those are pretty formative years. I moved a lot as a kid, and so that's why I'm asking you.
Were you military?
No.
Oh, okay.
Just,
Got it.
Just moving a lot.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
But, I was always the new kid. So as a result, I'm pretty socially well adjusted.
Yeah.
Like
You can adapt really well.
I don't have a problem walking into any room.
Yeah.
Do you think that going back and forth, like what are the greater effects that you think, if any, moving back and forth had on you?
Well, depression has definitely affected my memory. But I think that it just gave me perspective. The mainland compared to island life is drastically different. A lot of people on the mainland care about things that, at least growing up for me, wasn't really that big of a deal. Right. It wasn't challenging to forgive someone. It wasn't challenging to hear someone out. It wasn't challenging to give someone space. And it wasn't challenging to just show up as whoever the fuck you were, Right. And so I would come here, and people who I thought I was just going to get immediately embraced by, all of a sudden, it was a different interaction. I was a dark-skinned girl with long hair. I spoke what they called white. Everything that I was not considered to be accepted within certain spaces and circle because of the dangerous stereotypes that are already put on Black women and young Black girls and Black people in general. And then when I would go back to Oahu, I was reminded that this is just a perspective, but it's important to know so I can understand both sides, so that maybe in not being angered by my experiences, I can transform them into something for someone else to break out of.
Isn't that ferociously frustrating?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's happening. It's always happened with me in music. I've wanted to, everyone wants to put everything in a box, right? But I'm expected to sing R&B, or I'm expected to do the Whitney Houston songs, do the Mariah Carey songs, all of that. But me wanting to do a Paramore song or anything outside of that is difficult for people to grasp unless it is in a way that fits their narrative or their, perspective. I know everybody's not like that, but it's a very real thing.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course.
So, but I don't care.
It must provide fuel for your tank, though, also.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because my only intention is to bring people together. all different types of people together, all different demographics. And there was a speech, I forgot the man who was doing it, but it was recently at the ESPYs, and he talked about the faces of fear and how when you are sure of the path of where you want to go, you are going to be met with every type of fear that you can possibly think of, not because the world is out to get you, but because you asked to be the face of what you're doing. And that really resonated with me because I have been constantly challenged about who I am, the music I want to do, how I go about it. And at first I thought it was because that's just the way that it is. But I really think it's because it's made me stronger and it's made me more prepared to endure a path that people that look like me or people that want to be authentically themselves can walk gracefully through. You know, I at least that's how I've chosen to embrace it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be fearless through it all. Right. And like you said, fuck them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you decided to become Teza and record and perform your own music, how did you execute that? How was it realized?
So I had a friend who, his name's Alter. He's a fantastic producer. I'm not sure where he is at the moment, but he originally was from the Federal Way area. And when I wasn't allowed to do music because of the contract I was in, he encouraged me to record demos and record songs. And he actually got me to write and record one of the first songs that made me realize that I can't give up.
Yeah.
And we recorded a project or a series of demos for about a year. And then we had a smaller like platform label reach out and say, hey, we can help you with getting your music heard by more people. And we were like, oh, cool. We're actually headed to Hood River to write our first EP. And they A&R'd it. And from that time of getting the project done to promoting it, there was a moment where we were getting the PR ready between myself and another like curator, and they mixed up the names of what TeZATalks was. I don't know how Talks got thrown in there, but TeZATalks was birthed. It was originally just Teza. And here we are.
That's how Talks ended. It was a fluke.
Yes. But Teza came from a Starbucks order that when they spelled Tasia wrong. So it's all been beautiful coincidences or mistakes, I guess.
It was a mistake.
Yeah, it was a mistake. It was not supposed to be TeZATalks.
You're just like, well, there it is.
Yeah. Shout out Ex Keto.
Leave it there.
Yeah, it kind of made sense. At the time I was really into TED Talks.
Okay.
And I loved how you could, go onto YouTube or be introduced to a topic of some tall order, and this person had a view on it that was influential. And I felt like the stories I wanted to tell and where most of my poetry came from and the concepts, it aligned with that. So,
and on just about any subject you can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. You could go hear about splitting atoms or about competitive yo-yoing.
Yeah.
I would have never even considered to put that together.
Yep. Thanks for asking.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, how did that deal go? A lot of times these things don't go super great.
Right. Honestly, they became really good friends. And I know people have different experiences within these, we signed away 50% of our masters. Yeah, we were kids in a basement making music. However,
50% of nothing is nothing.
Yeah. However, because the project did, it did do really well, and it amassed a diehard fan base. It gave me my true first 1,000 fans. I took it as a step and understood that it's very important to know where you want to go. Because in the present moment, when you have to make decisions, if you don't know where you want to go, it will affect everything in the future. And if I would have known that the potential of it, STFD accumulating 40 million streams on one platform could happen, I probably would have negotiated differently.
Sure.
And especially now we see all these artists selling their catalogs, creating a whole different other revenue. We live in such a fast-paced world. It's okay to slow down and take your time in making these long-term decisions.
Informed decisions.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
Knowledge is power. It's okay to want to, I'm happy to be here and everything, but this is a business.
Right.
And
you like to live indoors, right?
Yes, I do.
I do.
I like to eat. I like toilet
to
paper.
Use the bathroom indoors a lot. If there's water and everything, it's fucking great.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and you really can make an independent living in this business. There's so much at people's grasp as far as like how to cultivate that. So,
what do you think holds people back from their potential in that regard? Because it's all there, right? But it's not super easy, and it's a lot of hard work.
That part. I think the work holds people back. Right. First, it's definitely yourself. You are your greatest enemy in that. And you hear the word discipline a lot, right? You need to form some type of discipline in order to form some type of structure, in order to form some type of ability to understand that this business relationships are everything. So working on yourself, getting the bad habits out the way, getting the bad mannerisms out the way will ultimately make you a better artist and better business person.
Do you think that being in organized sports as a kid helped you form that kind of discipline?
Yes. Camaraderie, the ability to shut up and listen, the passion to, like, competition to me is healthy. Like, I don't get upset or egotistical when someone is better at something than me. I get excited. And
everyone's better at most shit than me,
right? Like I'm trying to be around like the best people that are the best at what they do, so I can soak that up.
Yes.
And there's so much of that here, but it's just also not really practiced to. And how I'm trying to say this in the nice way.
There's never really been a sense of, like, in Seattle, unfortunately, because of the, like, deep-rooted slackerism.
Yes, yeah.
I am 100 years older than you, and so...
Are you? You look great.
That's nice of you to say. So... in the 90s, when I was like trying to make it, it was like kind of frowned upon. If you wanted to be recognized and if you wanted to, earn a living, but everyone wanted it, but they didn't want to express it. They didn't want to be outwardly express it. Everyone wanted a record deal. Sure.
Yeah.
No one would say, I want it all. I want all of it. Give me every fucking drop. But everyone does.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, if you are in a place to think that you deserve it.
Don't you think that if you are getting on a stage to do whatever it is you're doing on a stage, that there's a part of you that, even if you are just pounding it down and swallowing it, that it's like, you feel like you deserve to be seen, whether it's a soapbox or, WAMU theater. right?
Layers to it. I think at least the path for me, it was like, I have something to prove to myself and to my peers and to my past. And then it was, oh shit, people are receiving this and they're connecting to it. Now I have a responsibility to an audience and to a fan base. And now evolving through that, I have intentions to create a space and a world that hold all of that. And then growing and growing and growing, I want to be respected in my craft, and I want it to expand as far as it possibly can throughout the world.
I love that. I understand that expectation, or even like a specific vision, can be a dangerous thing because it also creates disappointment.
Yeah.
What's the grandest vision that you see for Teza?
Oh, it's funny. It has nothing to do with music.
Is that right?
Yeah. I talked about it just recently on my Instagram, cringe, but I did, and it's called The Movement.
Okay.
And it's what I want people to know is the name of our home if you have nowhere else to go. It's you and I working together to create this synergy in realizing we are mirrors of our greatest potential. And we have a power in our voices collectively to use it and move throughout the world, because that is what's going to create this coexistence that I believe in. We can't escape the truth that we are on a floating rock. We can't go anywhere. Spaceship. Literally. And I just am tired of the separation and the ignorance and the brainwashing, broken system that we think we have to abide by, when our human birthright is just to exist and be and to create.
Sure.
And music is just one of the ways that I am doing that. But that's what I want. And I plan on using every creative art form and aspect of myself to do it, because some people need different ways to be approached.
Well, people are afraid.
Yeah, I know.
Of everything.
I can see why.
Right.
I get it.
I was terrified when I moved to Seattle.
Why?
It's just like a fucking country hit kid,
Wait, where'd you move from?
From Granite Falls. You know where Granite Falls is?
Wait, Michigan?
No, here.
Washington. Oh, it's here. Oh, okay. Interesting.
But everything was I just, didn't know. I thought that city people knew things that country people didn't know. And in some ways they do, but also country people know things that city people don't know.
Yeah. You need both.
But yeah, it was terrifying. Everything was terrifying, but I engaged it. And I've always engaged things, but people are afraid of anything they don't understand.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can, I don't know. What you're talking about sure does sound like a religion, though.
Emma, is it a cult? Is it a cult?
I've talked about starting a religion for a long time, first as a joke, and then it was like, there are a lot of like pretty poorly managed things where people are taking advantage of other people, and it's a lot of badness.
Yeah. I mean, religion it's a security for all of it.
Sure.
So, and people often need to be led to some type of purpose. But I think it's because it starts within the society that we are taught at a very young age that it's not coming from ourselves, to look outside, to look up. When, as a little girl, I was always very imaginative and very much in my world. My mom could leave me alone for hours and I would be totally fine.
Sure.
And I thought everybody was like that. I think everybody has the ability to be like that, but I do think environment, situations, experiences do affect it.
Fuck it, we're already here.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think happens when we die?
Oh,
Do you have an opinion on that? Do you have any ideas?
I have this. So Tasia means resurrection, and I've always been very drawn to death, and I have a lot of taxidermy in my collection in my home.
What kind of taxidermy do you have?
Octopus.
I've never seen a
eyes.
taxidermied octopus.
Yeah, his name is Leonard Skinner. The octopus. Yeah,
Wow.
butterflies, beetles, and it's all done, not in a way where it's like they're killed and captured. It's fine. It's fine. But I say this graciously. I've had the opportunity to be with people in their final breaths. And in those situations, I felt a shift in the moment that I was in energetically. Both were familiar. I don't know what it was, but the feeling was familiar, very similar to when I watched the Hubble spaceship documentary and they show all the stars and the galaxy. It felt like when I watched that. And when my grandmother, for example, became a part of everything, her hand was in my hand. And whatever came to release her from this vessel we are took her somewhere that was far more expansive and beautiful and loving than what this dimension has to offer. And I only say that because what her face looked like when she was no longer there, it was of joy. So, do I know where we go? No. But I know that it is somewhere not to be afraid of.
I'm not afraid to die.
No.
I don't want to die like in any sort of atrocious way. Like,
no.
I want to die some way, like some way really interesting. I think would be cool.
Alligator fight.
Yeah, that would be cool. Like, did you hear about Squires? He fought 6 bears.
Oh my goodness!
Only the last one took him out.
Only the last one.
Only the last one.
And it was because you were running, and it was tripped and fell off a cliff.
Way. We don't run.
No running. Okay.
We don't run.
Stand your ground.
Yeah.
I don't want a bear attack.
Me neither. Me neither.
I just can't. I don't want a plane. No planes.
Did you see The Revenant?
Yes, that's why. That's
so fucked.
Do you not see the trauma that's in my eyes from it? Why was that scene so aggressively real? Like,
it was so brutal.
What?
What about how chapped his lips were by the end of the movie? It was so horrible. I just want to get him some Blistex. It was so awful.
I guess they, really wanted to give us the reality of what it's like.
I mean, he went through it.
We have that. Yeah, you probably have heard that, women are in this place of choosing man or the bear because men have become so awful.
Become?
I'm sorry. That they have been exposed even more in our time of
Information
internet.
ages. Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
But I've never heard the saying of choosing a man or a bear.
The bear. Yeah.
Say it again.
It's man or the bear. And you'll see it on the internet every time that a man is exposed for doing something expected.
Right.
A woman will say, "This is why we choose the bear."
Well, this is an ignorant man thing that I've never heard of this, obviously.
I'm here to let you know, just in case anyone,
I'm here to learn.
comes and asks you
if I'm a bear.
I think they mean a literal bear.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I can't say that the world is, let me say this, the future is female in my eyes.
I hope so.
Yeah. In New Zealand, they have a whole, I think however their government is, a woman is in charge, and they're doing just great.
So far, men have been largely in charge, obviously, and things haven't really gone swimmingly.
No,
have you checked in recently?
Can't say I'm having a good time.
You checked in recently? It's not been great.
No, not for a while.
Centuries.
Yeah.
Centuries.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What do you, I mean, we've established that you're not afraid to die.
No.
You want to die some way interestingly.
I rather, so can I grab something?
Yeah.
Cool.
You have a magic bag.
I do have things. Caitlin Doherty, I think I'm saying that right. Seems Irish, but this book, From Here to Eternity.
Mm-hmm.
She's also a morgue mortician, and she took time to travel all around the world to understand different cultures, burial processes and rituals. And in America, we don't have one. It's just a greed thing,
right?
And so, not so much in the way that I would die, but more so in the way that I would be celebrated in death. I think that's very important for my transition, and also for the community in which is affected by my life, and their transition in my life to death. And I highly recommend this read.
All right.
It's very fascinating. It explores all different types of cultures and how they choose to bury their dead.
The first job I had when I moved to Seattle, I was a gravedigger.
Were you?
I was a gravedigger. I've lived many lives. I was a gravedigger, and I saw some pretty interesting things.
Yeah? Like what?
I mean, I've held a human skull in my hand straight out of the ground.
Wow.
From, we had to exhume a plot,
mm-hmm.
dig it down, and then replace it and put this person's partner in a sort of double depth thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty wild.
Mm.
It felt like some grave robber shit.
Yeah.
We buried a young Buddhist kid who got hit by a car.
Mm.
And the service was, very alien to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And people were grieving. Not, it felt distinctly different,
mm-hmm.
but it was like people stuck around until the grass was back on the grave. Like it was, people stayed.
Yeah.
And your run-of-the-mill Westerner doesn't. They're like, all right, well, let's hit Applebee's, and then we got to get to Tumwater by 3. Right?
Yeah, and rarely do people visit back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I saw people throw themselves onto caskets as they were lowering into the ground in grief.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty wild.
Yeah. What did it do for your life as...
It was a job for me. It was just, that was my first job when I moved here. So
very cool.
It was weird. I was like, all right. sure,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah.
And it was a funny story. I got fired.
Oh, what did you do?
Well, I didn't do anything bad. It's just one gold tooth. No, I showed up to work with like bright red hair, and they were like, "You can't have
Oh.
that." And I was like, "Why not?"
Mm.
So yeah, they were like, "Go home, and you can come back to work when you put your hair back to normal." And I was
Not coming
like,
back.
"Later."
Yeah.
See
Oh, so
ya
you
later.
left.
See ya.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it was pretty wild.
Mm.
It was Forest Lawn. It's in the middle of High Point, which was leveled and rebuilt. But a lot of crazy shit like drugs and gunshots. We would show up to work at 6 and there'd just be like people turning tricks. Like we would catch people fucking in the cemetery all the time. And it was just like,
Yeah, people do weird things in cemeteries.
but I like to visit cemeteries when I go and when I'm touring.
Yeah.
Well, I visit cemeteries, and
Yeah,
they're,
that's so cool.
in other countries, that shit is old.
What's the
It's
coolest
great.
cemetery you've been able to visit?
There's some pretty cool cemeteries in New Orleans,
Oh, I bet.
as far as America goes.
Mm-hmm.
In Buenos Aires, there's a giant cemetery in the middle of the city, and it's the most incredible thing. I don't know what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
I'll find out.
Yeah.
And send it to you so you can go look at images.
You just gave me a new tour like activity to do when I head back out.
it's the best.
Yeah.
The other thing, to see the old churches in Europe.
Yeah. The architecture, I'm sure, is beautiful.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. I got to go to the Hollywood Cemetery for a Gucci party. And they had like Lana Del Rey and Jared Leto there in their Gucci-ness.
Yeah.
And they opened up I don't know what it's called, but where they have
the mausoleum.
Yes. And they put a DJ in there. It just seems, now looking back, it just seems just a little wrong. But people could go in there and take pictures and learn about the celebrities that were buried there. And they were passing out corn dogs and
How
Gucci.
Much more Hollywood can it get, though? I mean, and also, by the way, if you're buried in the Hollywood Cemetery, like you're kind of signing up for that. You're
right?
like, yeah, bring the DJ.
Literally, people sitting on the ground eating corn dogs next to your favorite rock star is probably just the epitome of Hollywood and their burial for the dead.
It's pretty weird.
Yeah, it is strange, but that's what I mean. I feel like if we connected better to how we celebrate life through death, maybe we would also have a better appreciation for the quality of life until death,
Every day is a gift.
Yeah, it is.
What are you most afraid of? Do you feel comfortable talking about it?
Yeah. I'm most afraid of losing my mom or my sister before I can contribute anything in the way that they have contributed to me. I want to give my sister experiences. I want to give my mom a world of gratitude. And I know like money and stuff is so frivolous compared to just being in someone's life. But I've just been able to see firsthand the difference it makes when someone is exposed to the beauty of life and not to the constraint of life or having to survive it. And that's why I work so hard. I want that more than anything. They believe in me so much and have always told me to fearlessly run in the direction of my dreams. So
I love that.
What about you?
No, who cares about me? I mean, I would sure if you had asked me that question before you gave your answer, I surely would have, no, probably not. I probably would not have a terrible answer.
Mm.
But I think that is a beautiful and selfless answer.
I mean it.
How does your sister work with you?
In music?
Yeah.
So my sister is actually on the brink of becoming one of the best golfers in the world.
What?
I'm saying it right now, right here. Yes.
Really?
Yeah. She's out at Centralia right now doing like a prep year before she applies for D1. The pandemic was really hard on her and her peers and every other kid that had to understand what the fuck they went through.
Sure.
But she has kept up her practice in the sport that she loves, and she is a powerhouse. She is incredible. She is like a prodigy. I'm so proud of her. She just won the Northwest Golf Championship in her division, and there's not a lot of girls that look like her in the sport. So I just so proud of her for always remaining kind and hungry in her passion, because it's going to do a lot more than I think she can even fathom.
How did you guys grow up together?
So we're 15 years apart.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And so yes and no.
Right.
I often get mistaken as her mom. And it's fun. And then the show that I just did at Evil House, she was in the front row, bar for me on the records. There's a cute video that someone caught that I passed her the mic, and she's like singing the words back to me. She is one of my greatest supporters and one of my bestest of friends.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm very lucky.
What's her name?
Her name's Jada Ann Thomas.
Shout out to Jada.
Yes. Yeah.
That's killer.
Yeah. She's incredible. So proud of her. My mom did a rocking job all by herself too.
What's your mom's name?
Eleanor.
Eleanor.
Yeah.
What a beautiful name.
Yeah. It's funny.
Good job,
we all
Eleanor.
have Anns. Yes. Good job, Mom. We all have Anns as our middle name. Eleanor Ann, Tasia Ann, Jada Ann, and my grandma Lillian Ann.
My sister's middle name is Ann.
Oh, really?
Barbara Ann.
Welcome to the club.
Right.
It means grace.
Naming you Tasia, and you said that it means resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a conscious choice, or was that something that
I don't think
just
so.
happened to, that's coincidental?
My dad is the one who chose Tasia, because I think my mom wanted Brianne Marie. And my dad had a friend who had named his daughter Tasia, and they were good buddies. And I think there was just some,
It was competitive.
Knowing him probably. But that's how it came about. My mom liked the name too. But it wasn't until I told them when I was like 16, I was like, did you know that it means resurrection? And, 19, that I had told them that it means resurrection. And my grandmother had passed away in that year, and they had said, interesting. Because when she left, you rose. And that always kind of like stuck with me. Didn't really know what it meant until I got older, but I think I understand now.
You get your competitive spirit from your father?
Yes, absolutely. He's city council.
Okay.
So, he also comes from a long line of activists and I will say Black scholars and educators within the Midwest. My dad's side of the family is responsible for putting Black people in white neighborhoods in St. Louis. And there is a beautiful picture of Martin Luther King and my grandfather at a table with blueprints, trying to ensure the protection and the inclusivity of Black people within white spaces.
Do you have a nice print of that for yourself?
I do not. I do
You
not.
should have one.
I think I'll ask my grandmother for it. Now that you say that, we've always, in my family, things are very sacred.
Yeah.
And I think even in me being more outward in my expression and in my life is sometimes not always supported, not because they don't necessarily want me to succeed, but because within history, what has happened. But how can I influence others who doubt the potential and possibility if I am not honest in the path that was paved before me? And so I think that's why I haven't made it a part of my home, because it is in the acknowledgement in going there and in remembering what has happened. But I will ask.
I would have that thing hanging in my living room if I was there, just as big as I could get it blown up and still be, sharp.
It hung in my grandfather's office in St. Louis for the longest, and to be honest, that was the last place that I remember seeing it, because they've since moved and he's passed on. But it was,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's especially now when it seems like we are regressing back to a time that I have no idea, because a road was paved for me to not have any idea of this. So now more than ever, it means so much more.
It's going to be a pretty wild ride this year.
Yeah.
I don't really want to go there, except
dive
that
into politics.
I don't want to, except that I think that it's a terrifying and exciting time, but even no matter what happens, I'm scared of that.
Yeah.
Probably that's what I'm most afraid of.
Realizing that no one is in control and it's just all madness.
It's a tank of cannibalistic piranhas.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
What are your plans for the fall and 2025 in the winter moving forward?
So I'm finally releasing my debut album, Black Girl American Horror Story. Very excited about that. Album release show at Numos, October 10th.
Awesome.
I probably will be doing some fun, interactive things in between, but since I don't have a release date just quite yet, I'm hesitant to say any of those plans. But I am excited to introduce people to a side of myself that I think they haven't seen, as well as continue to give the fans that have been a part of my journey what they have embraced, as far as me starting in the electronic world and now branching into this hardcore pop. And 2025, I hope to be able to expand the movement even bigger than what it is now and tour.
You just said hardcore pop. And that's something I have not heard of, but you're also wearing a shirt that says death to all genres.
Yes, this is Kent Osborne's merch.
I don't know who that is either. I'm fucking old and in the way.
No, it's okay. There's so much music being made now.
There's a lot of motherfuckers
I don't think in one lifetime we could even get through half of it. No way. Kent Osborne is who headlined Evil House this past Friday at the show that I was fortunate to play at.
Awesome. I saw
my friend Jimmy put together the bill. It's crazy.
It looked amazing.
Flesh Produce, Lonely Girl. I mean, the bill was legendary compared to I won't say compared to. It was legendary in the way that one of the last shows that Lonely Girl did was a show with me in 2019. Flesh Produce we all hear and see what they are doing. It's fantastic. It's incredible. I love them. And then Kent is made way through California. And he is, the way that he shares his music and his world is very similar, I think, to mine energetically. Like, we want people to just feel fucking free in where they're at, no matter who you are. And his music is a blend of all of his favorite things, as it is for me. And so when I saw this shirt on his merch table, I was like, dude, I have to have this, right? And I thought it would be perfect to wear today because it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is hardcore pop?
Hardcore pop is a term that I'm coining that will evolve, but right now it's in the genres of nu metal, punk, and electro pop.
Rad.
Yes, hardcore pop.
I love that. And, there's only so much new metal that I embraced while it was happening in real time. But I love that there's a 90s revivalism, because I remember in the 90s and like the 60s
Everywhere.
and 70s were the thing. And, my uncles were like, oh, just all the new music sounds like my favorite music.
Yeah. Yes, I love that.
But the new version of this encompasses technology that didn't exist in the 90s, and it makes it, I just feel like it gives it a fresher spin.
Yeah, I think so. I think also unfortunately, people don't have to do their homework, when you heard of a release of an artist back then, being first in line at a record store, it's like, kids don't understand that today. Like, there's something about waiting for your favorite artist's CD or vinyl to come out and then going home, and that's your whole entire day. Now
kids
it's
are like, I went to record store day.
Yeah.
The line was crazy. It's like, that was it. That was Friday when Pearl Jam Versus came out.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think, yes, it is. I'm always an advocate for progression. But I think there is also a need for paying homage to what has got us to this progression. And for example, me having the ability to say that I want to smush together nu metal and punk and electro pop came from the fact that my cousin, when I was like 13 years old, got me in his truck, and he played System of the Down for me and Limp Bizkit and Slipknot, and the feeling that I felt, where all of my woes and sorrows and mom and dad and school and fuck this and like, it all gave it a place that was okay to just release in, and to be able to come back and, in my way, pay homage to that moment with my Limp Bizkit cover of Break Stuff. That is me trying to ensure that whatever needle I move or path I pave forward, people understand like where it came from,
Right.
Like that energy, like the Woodstock 99 documentary, like people were like, well, shows aren't like that anymore. Well, that happened, but also like, yeah, shows aren't always like that anymore. Why? And I think the authenticity in what a lot of these bands carried and were relentless in their mission as artists hasn't necessarily been the root of some of the new music we hear today. But I think the ability for artists to come back on the road, and also for younger generations to see that, to understand where it came from, will bridge that gap.
I feel like in the 90s, like the 90s is when it probably stopped, but I feel like the 90s music and music leading up to then certain genres of music used to be a safe place for dangerous things.
Yeah. Do you know the Chinatown Punk Wars?
No.
Oh, example of what you're talking about. It was in LA. Madame Wong allowed punk bands to come and play, as well as another place that's like slipping my mind now, but it's a documentary, and like so many big punk bands like got their start there because they weren't allowed to play in other venues because of what they would start. Hence to what you're saying. Yeah.
Somewhere along the line, things got safe and
cancel culture.
I don't know if that. I mean, I feel like that had to happen.
That it had to
happen. Cancel culture had to happen.
Oh yeah, true.
And justifiably. And but you know, that probably was the culmination of all the complacent almost 2 decades of just like weird safeness.
And people like the want to be liked is so high, but it's like not everyone's gonna fucking like you. I'm not meant for everyone to like me.
Right.
I don't care if you don't like me.
Yeah, it's none of your business.
But that's such a hard pill to swallow when social media is at the forefront of our impressionability, like people don't ask you anymore what you do. They ask what your Instagram is, and then they immediately say how many people are following you to see if people actually give a damn. And it's like some of the best people I know don't even have Instagram.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
There's I feel like young people, like people who are 13 now, don't care about social media. Is that true? That's the impression that I get, that they're just kind of like, they're not as impressed. Like, it got its hooks in everyone from Gen X to Gen Z, right? Hooks, deep hooks.
I can agree. Only because when I do see a younger person or in that demographic follow me, they have like one picture on their Instagram.
Right.
And they're a lot more conservative about things, which is interesting. But I think it's because they realize how fucked the world is. They're walking into a place where it's like, we see all these adults running around just blaming each other and then blaming us or saying that we don't understand. It's like, no, we set this world up for them to live in. Why should they care about how we're running it? Why don't we hear how they want to run it? Like, I know that seems crazy, but
they will inherit this place.
Yeah, they will. And all of our fucking atrocities with it. If we don't start actually understanding how we are accountable.
Well, water will find its level here. I think the earth will be fine.
Yeah, it always is. It's us.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
We really got derailed there for a minute.
Did we? I think this is all supposed to be a part of the conversation.
It is. Tell me the thing that you're most excited about your record.
In regards to my record?
Yeah.
The concept. Black Girl American Horror Story. A lot of people at first will think it probably came from American Horror Story. And as much as I do love that show, it has nothing to do with that. It is to be horror, to know horror, and to experience horror. And every record, every song that's on this record is a perspective or an extension of that. And I think people are often scared of things that are considered horror, or, you know, they think of gore. They're like, oh, I don't want to look at that. But that is the world that we live in. That is the society that we live in. So how is this any different? And in the audio storytelling that I take someone through, I hope that they will find a piece of themselves in it. And that's what I'm excited for.
Awesome.
That connection.
Are you a horror film fan?
Yes, but I feel like some friends of mine who are really, you know, the reviews and everything, I don't stand toe to toe to them, you know, but I do enjoy creepy. I'm a little creepy. I'm a little weird. Like I just can't, get away from that. So I just feel most at home in that place. I don't really like, gory stuff, like torture stuff.
Yeah, no,
like I'm not a fan of that.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But like Chucky, I watched that as a kid religiously.
That's a comical.
Yeah, along next to Little Mermaid. Something about that just really scratched an itch for me. The Scream, Final Destination, like
that kind of stuff.
Candyman. Yeah. And anything camp. I tend to enjoy
Final Destination.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited for the new Beetlejuice and Nosferatu.
I'm excited for the Alien movie.
Oh, when is that coming out?
This month.
Really?
I think, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like maybe next week.
Oh, you want to go see it?
I'm going to be on tour. Otherwise,
you are leaving.
Yeah.
Well, maybe on tour. I'll go see it and let you know how it is.
I'm going to see it on a day off for sure.
Oh, okay. We can compare notes.
Movie theater is a special place for me. I love the movie theater.
Oh.
It's my favorite.
Do you take advantage of the Tuesday deals?
The problem with me is that I haven't been to a movie theater. Well, no, I saw the Deadpool movie.
Oh.
But I haven't seen a movie. I've seen 2 movies this year.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is really unusual for me.
Yeah. And you said movie theaters that's your favorite place?
Yeah. I started going to movies by myself when I was in like 3rd grade.
Oh, I love that.
2nd grade, maybe.
What was the first movie you saw?
Probably Star Wars.
Wow.
By myself.
Yeah.
Which is fucking when I look at kids that age, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you just gonna walk down the street by yourself?
Yeah, nowadays it's like unheard of.
Right. Well, I will show you the basement as promised.
I would love to see it.
It's super creepy.
Yes, I love that.
And it looks pretty murdery. Yes. There are no, like, the first time I went down there, it looks like the place you'd expect to see, like, some, like, meat hooks hanging from the beams, you know? It's like
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That kind of creepy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the scariest horror to me is Black Mirror because...
It's real? Oh my goodness, there's this thing...
It's so close to being real.
If you love that, then, if you're scared of that, let me tell you of a real Black Mirror moment that's happening. There's this device, it's a necklace, it's called Friend.
I already hate it.
Have you seen the movie Her?
No.
Are you aware of what Her is?
I am aware of it, and it just makes me depressed thinking about it.
Well, bring on all the depression, because this device is, it I guess sits on your heart space, and you talk to it as if you have a friend next to you, and it responds to your what is it, like, nervous system and your tone of breath and your question. And the more you talk to it, the better friend it becomes.
Because it learns more about you. It doesn't become a better friend to you. It becomes a better manipulator.
The commercial is wild. The commercial's out. I sent it to the group chat for the guys yesterday, and
when we turn this off, we're going to watch the commercial on the computer over there.
it will
That's
never be the
fucking
same.
terrifying. I hate it.
Terrifying.
And I'm kind of mad that you told me about
I'm so
it.
sorry. Knowledge is
That-
power.
Don't you think that that's a terrible name for it also?
Friend?
Yeah.
It's better than Annabelle, I guess.
Fucking friend.
Yeah.
Who needs them?
Everyone.
They say, no, you just have a necklace that you talk to.
Well,
Does it, I mean, is it independently intelligent? Is it connected to...
it has not released the inner workings of the device. It just has shown in the commercial different scenarios and different types of people who would be wearing it. And that is enough for me to know that it is compatible with any person.
So it's like 6-year-olds and incels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's who wants it.
Well, actually, the way that they advertise it, I think a
Of
lot more
course.
people are going to want this.
I hope not.
Because it's validating. Think about the narcissists of the world.
But do you want validation from AI?
Some people don't separate the two.
Ooh.
I mean,
Show me their face.
I'm sorry, guys, but tech bros probably don't separate the two.
Right. They think their Tesla truck is their friend.
Yes. I mean, consciousness is an idea before it is a part of us and humanity.
I'm so mad right now.
I'm sorry. It is going to happen in our lifetime.
Oh, fuck you, friend.
Everyone should get real friends immediately.
For sure.
Everyone
We're headed down a dark path
can't wait.
on this podcast and as a fucking population, yeah.
There is hope at the end of the road.
At the end of a rope, there's hope.
The light at the tunnel. Have you ever heard of Baba Vanga?
What's that?
Baba Vanga.
No.
She is a prolific, I won't say it's not a sorceress, she prophesized dates and events.
Mm-hmm.
She's long gone now, but I was fascinated by her because everything that she prophesized up to now has happened. She has predictions all the way to the end of the earth. And within one of her predictions, there is a time where we will know only peace and no war. So if that can give you any hope, it's not in our lifetime though.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. Is that a time where most of the population is gone? Because I think that's the only time wars don't happen.
I think I was going to get the date tattooed on me. I think it's 5079 something.
Do you think we're going to last that long?
Yeah. No, I mean, us, our species is going to evolve.
Well, I'm going to be cryogenically frozen.
Yeah.
I'm going to be soul printed.
Totally.
And
total recall moment.
Yeah, I'll come back as a fucking, bottle of goo that, can with sensors.
Yeah. I mean, people are trying to put themselves in chips so they can be essentially formatted, coded.
It'd be like the what is the movie, the Keanu movie,
Matrix.
Yeah, where he'll be like,
yeah,
I need to fly a helicopter, and then he can fly a helicopter.
Sky. Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be that on the nose, but I do see how the world is adapting to the damages we have caused. It's even happening in our oceans. So
don't you think that if we can imagine it, then it's possible?
Yes.
As soon as you think it,
it is real.
Right.
Yes, that's why you should always be careful about
what you think
and what you say.
And don't always believe what you think.
Absolutely not.
Ew.
It's okay to change your mind.
Ew.
Yeah. Gross. There's 7 billion of us. Why would only one person be right?
Maybe no one is.
Maybe not. I'm okay with that.
I'm really excited for the adventure that you have coming up.
Thank you.
Are you going to hit the road?
Yes, I am.
Awesome.
I don't have the dates yet. I got asked by another artist to travel through Canada.
Great.
But because he hasn't announced anything yet, I don't have anything
It might
else.
be perfect timing to head to Canada.
Right? Please. Yeah.
You know, an eternal tour of Canada.
Yeah. Or anywhere else. You know, I could go to Costa Rica. I could hit New Zealand. I just want to see the world. I've lived vicariously through friends. I haven't been outside of the country yet, believe it or not. So
I want that for you.
Thank you.
Because it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see things differently.
Mm-hmm.
And because the world is really, everywhere you go, there are beautiful things. And you talk to people and it just reinforces the idea that you already nurture. And that is that, you know, bringing people together is rooted in the idea that really people are the same.
Mm-hmm. There is no difference between
everywhere
you and I.
Go, people want the same shit.
Yep.
You know,
feel the same feelings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would be grateful for the opportunity. I'm working my ass off for it. So,
well, I hope that it comes back to you 100-fold.
Thank you. Same for you, my friend.
Thanks. I'm just happy to be here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty fortunate. I get to do cool things, and certainly not because I am more talented or more deserving than other people.
Mm-hmm.
I've been really fortunate, and I want everyone to get what they want, so long as it doesn't hurt other people.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone deserves the space and the ability to have a life of quality and a life of love.
But you got to be able to fucking work, motherfuckers.
Right? Stop being lazy. Get off your ass.
You gotta work. And, yeah, you have to work.
Also, a life of service makes anyone better. Anyone in any way. So
I promised myself that when I've been back in Seattle for a year, and I promised myself that when I got back here that I was going to do some volunteer work. And it's the one thing that I haven't done. I've done a bunch of other things. I've focused on a bunch of important things. Mm-hmm. Tap dancing and volunteer work are the two things that I haven't done yet.
Oh, do you want to be?
Oh, fuck yeah, I want to tap dance.
I would have never suspected that.
It would be a fucking hot party thing. Like you just had a party and be like, all right, hey, I'll see you guys later.
Yeah. Tap dance out of there?
Yeah.
Not for show, just for exits.
Any amount of flash that I ever want to present is all for the show. It's all for the party.
Yeah.
Why else would you like? I'm not Shirley Temple.
Delicious drinks, by the way. I could see it. I'm in my new birth year, my lap around the sun. I'm taking up fencing.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You and Bruce Dickinson.
Is that true?
He's a fencer. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm gonna have to look into that. Yeah, I've always wanted to. I think it's a cool mesh of like past, future, present. Sure. And who doesn't want a sword? I want a sword fight.
How fucking goth is that?
Yeah, I'm excited.
And you are athletically built also, and you have athletics and sports in your blood, and you're competitive.
Yep. Oh yeah.
I'll bet you're going to be a fucking slayer.
It's going down. I'll probably do competitions. It might take my whole attention away from my career. Who knows?
Have you told your sister?
No, not yet. I want to get us like signed up first and then do the thing.
Awesome. Stay tuned. Do you have a timeline for this?
So I just found the club I want to join. It's like $175 for unlimited classes in Lakewood. And so I'm just going to go actually see it probably next week because I'm really swamped this week. But yeah, next week, and then
Awesome.
do the thing.
I'm going to check in and see how that goes.
Please do.
All right.
And if you ever want to get,
I'm not trying to get punched or stabbed or anything like that.
okay,
I'm not trying to
a
get
hug.
I'm not trying to get struck.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm not down with getting struck
got you.
or hurting people.
Okay,
Unless I have to.
totally understand.
Yeah.
You have a suit on.
Yeah, but still. If it can go, Murphy's Law,
Yeah.
that's me.
Okay.
Murphy.
Got it.
That's me, Murphy.
That explains so much.
I want to thank you for giving me so much time today.
Oh, thank you for holding space for me.
Let's go see the creepy basement.
Let's go see the creepy basement.
You're amazing.
Oh, thank you. So you got me out of my shell in a way that was very refreshing.